Howdy, it's B.
Hey there, I'm Mark, and we're your real estate dream team.
That's right. We are handing you the keys and cranking the gears that turn your dreams into your.
Welcome back, everybody, to Keys and Gears. So today we're going to talk about something that's, every professional in this world has faced this before. If you were a consumer out there, how do you judge a good agent from a bad agent? How do you figure that out? How do you figure out a good lender from a bad lender,
Right.
right?
Why you?
Why,
Why?
why are you using this person instead of that person?
Mhm.
And a lot of times, especially in today's day of social media, TikTok and Instagram and all that, you see a lot of people on there that act like they're professionals and they act like they know what they're talking about. But in my case, I've seen it many times where they're good at that. They're good at marketing, but they suck at real estate. They are not good agents. They're not good lenders, but they're good at selling. And do you really want that as the person that's going to help you purchase the biggest purchase of your life? Let's face it, this is a big deal to buy a house or to sell a house.
Mhm.
And are you just going to hire somebody just because they look good on Instagram? And how do you figure this out best? How can you figure out who's really worth hiring and who's not? Is there a way to figure that out? What's your opinion on that?
What is my opinion on that? Is there a way? Yes, there is a way. Number one would be uh, obviously to just take the time to have a cup of coffee with
Interview them,
with.
right?
There you go, because it is a real estate transaction, be it listing or buying, is at its core not too distant from a short term marriage. So
Mhm.
I would suggest you go on some speed dates with some real estate professionals and maybe try just like from different buckets. Like maybe you pick a favorite real estate professional you like to follow on Instagram. Maybe you ask your AI to help you find one, and maybe you ask friends or neighbors or whatever who they recommend. Was it National Association of Realtors says everybody knows at least 19 real estate professionals?
Right. Right.
Holy.
And yet they oftentimes pick the first one they meet, which is to me a mistake because they met them because they were emotional about the whole
Right.
thing. They were connected to them emotionally instead of saying, okay, I like this person, how they come across, but do they know what they're doing?
Fair enough.
That's two separate things. I can like my doctor,
Mm.
and if he doesn't know what he's doing, he's going to misdiagnose me. I cannot like my doctor, but go with somebody who really knows what they're doing and diagnose me correctly. And that to me would be the better choice
Mm.
because my health is as important as making big investments like this. So I compare it more like picking a doctor. You may not like their bedside manners, but they're really good at what they do. So how do you figure that out? And to me, it's asking questions, right?
Mhm.
And here you can employ your AI to ask, what should I ask the agent, right? How do I pick an agent?
Mm.
Ask them questions like that. It's going to come back with some really good questions, some questions that aren't probably relevant, but
Right.
to
So,
help you
like,
start.
if a curated personal experience is important to you, like
Right.
someone that comes alongside and is a partner in the process, maybe a question you want to ask is, how many active buyers do you take on at one time?
Yeah.
Like, how many do you like to work with at once? Like, I've got my number as a single agent.
Right.
I don't go above a certain
Right.
number. Each of my buyers to feel seen and heard, because there are some general rules and principles, but each you buyer, you are you.
Yeah.
And so how we go through this together, it needs to be a together. It needs to be a partnership. You prefer to be communicated with by email. You prefer text. You prefer this. And that's what we're going to do to, are you somebody that's comfortable asking, or do you need to ask a bunch of questions to be comfortable with something? Well, are you, do you have a vibe where you feel comfortable asking this agent all these questions? Or are you afraid to ask questions because you feel like you're going to be judged or felt stupid or whatever?
One thing I really wish we had was a way to ask the agent's peers about their reputation.
Oh, that's interesting.
I wish there was a way for a consumer to find out what is Bess's reputation with her fellow peers, because what you see in front of you oftentimes is not how they act behind the scenes with their fellow agents. Part of this process is dependent on those two agents working together to get you to your keys. And if you have agents that are super nice to you but treat Bess terribly, that that transaction may not go very well.
Well, it's just
And
a
it
little bit more challenging
and
for
and
sure.
it and it and it hurts you as a consumer because you really wanted that house, but you didn't realize that your agent was blowing up the deal. A lot of times we see this in inspections where agents are misinformed and put things into their clients' minds that are just not realistic or not normal, so to speak.
Mhm.
And again, it can hurt you, or they don't talk about certain things that they should have talked about, and now you bought a lemon,
Oh,
right?
true, because
That
they're it's a
they want a
paycheck.
paycheck, right? And
Mhm.
they want to get back to Instagram because that's really what they love doing,
That's their full-time job
right?
versus actual real estate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they gravitate, people that are good on these social media channels, they gravitate towards what they like to do. The end result of selling real estate is not what they like to do, a lot of them.
Mm.
And the same in the lending world. You can have people that are doing, hundreds of loans a year, but they're not very good at what they do. They're very good at selling you. Rocket Mortgage does a great job selling you, but do they fulfill? Do they actually get the job done? Yeah, jury's out. Not so much, right? So you want to go with somebody that has a good reputation, has good reviews, but you also need to ask questions. And if you're attracted to them because of social media, ask yourself, what am I not seeing? And what questions do I need to ask to really get to the point of, are these people professional, knowledgeable, experienced enough to help me make
Mhm.
the biggest purchase of my life? And I've seen lenders, mistreat people behind the
Mhm.
scenes without them realizing they're being mistreated, and they were forced into things they shouldn't have been forced
Mhm.
into. I've seen all kinds of things happen where 2 years later they come to me and I go, "Why were you here in the first place? Who was
That
this?
was not
Who was
that
this
was not the
lender?"
best fit for you,
No, that
whatever it
was
might
that
be,
was
that type of
terrible advice,
Mhm.
and it was just because they want a paycheck, and that really makes a difference.
A good example of that was some buyers that I'm working with that did come to you to talk about the finance side of things,
Right.
and I haven't shared this with you. Now I'm gonna share it with you.
All right, all right, bonus.
I and they were struck with the fact that you took the time to say, "Hey, thinking about your financial future, yes, you talked about wanting to put 10% down, but I broke out what a monthly mortgage payment looks like after 5% down payment and what a monthly mortgage payment looks like at 10% down payment. And it was like $74
It
difference.
was like $51. I remember who I know who.
And he was like, "Oh, well, golly, for that difference, for that extra 5% right now, we could go ahead and paint the whole house to a color that makes us happy. And we could go ahead, I could still splash out and take her on her birthday trip."
Right,
And his spinning, 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 but he was so appreciative of you doing something that he had not thought of,
right.
which was because in his head, because he'd been Zillowing, because he'd been doing all the online research,
Mm,
he had to put down 10%,
mm.
and you took the time to show him, when you do the numbers, did it really make sense?
Does it, and for the length of time you're gonna own this house? Does
Mhm,
this really make a meaningful difference versus keeping the money in the bank and doing other things with it, right? So that's just one example of, I could be very transactional and do hundreds of loans a year, but not serve you as a consumer. And that's the thing, is like, we here, both of us are here to serve you. We're not here to make money. Making money is the result of serving you. Most of these people on TikTok and Instagram have it the other way around. They want to
mhm,
make the money
mhm,
and serving you secondarily, because
mhm.
they show it by not educating themselves. I see it in contracts every day that I get from realtors and I look them up and I go, "Oh my gosh, you got 10,000 followers on Instagram." And I look at their contract and it's amazing what they put in it shouldn't,
Right, that's
I
right,
mean, where is their broker, by the way,
right.
checking that contract?
That's a
Because
different conversation,
I
but
mean,
yes.
as a past real estate broker myself,
Yeah.
I get mad because
Mhm.
these people are ruining the reputation of real estate agents. And the same on the lending side. Where are these people coming from? They're putting dollars before serving. And I
Mhm.
don't like that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
have a personal problem with that. I'd
Mhm.
rather make less money, but serve people that call me back in 3 years and go,
Mhm.
I loved what you did last time. Let's do it again.
Mhm.
Then just be transactional and go, okay, well, I probably will never see them
Right.
again.
Well,
Right.
and for me too, selfishly, as a retired mom, because all my kids are in their 30s, and so I'm no longer raising them. I'm just cheering them on. Go team! I really enjoy the tribe, the gathering them into my family by choice, my
Yeah.
tribe, after a real estate transaction. We've got last year we did a boat trip with a big
Yep.
crew.
That was great.
We've got our annual Pumpkins and Pups, which is a fundraiser for bats. If you have questions about that, put a comment below. But all sorts of things. I'm working on having a bestest version of, I guess, a Galentine because it's going to be in February, but it's going to be after Valentine's Day. It's going to be a very merry birthday party.
And you wouldn't invite people to that and they wouldn't show up if you weren't caring. And if you didn't serve them,
Well, it's
they
beyond
wouldn't
that.
come. Right.
It's
They're part of your family now. They're part of your tribe. They become part of that.
right. Right. It's not transactional. It's an opportunity to connect with like-minded people, which at the front end is to go from here to keys or from here to cash. But the result of working side by side, because again, it is a short-term marriage that for me, I'm blessed that it goes from a short-term marriage into a long-term friendship
That's right.
that will just create memories and trust. Especially for me, I'm blessed to be in a brokerage where um, my tribe really values that brokerage because I'm in a brokerage that literally circumnavigates the world. So as things change, as life changes
Yeah.
and all the things, I can connect them with other professional
Professionals.
agents
Hmm.
that do lead with how can I be of service to you versus so what does your checking account look like? Let's
Yeah.
talk.
Are
I
you
mean,
pre-approved?
right? Very
Sign
true.
here.
Very true.
Don't
I
else.
mean,
Just sign.
the consumer doesn't realize that actually, and maybe that's why Mark and I are so passionate about service first, is that the real estate industry is actually highly regulated, not too dissimilar. And the fiduciary expectation is not dissimilar at all from a doctor or
Right.
CPA
Right.
or a lawyer. And so not taking it seriously to that degree really irritates the heck out of Mark and me. And our hope and goal is that you will also start getting really aggravated if you don't get that vibe from the professionals you're speaking with.
Walk away.
Walk away.
Yeah.
It is, we've all had bad doctors that it just seems like they were like next versus, hey, how are you feeling? So
Right.
tell me more about that
Or
binding.
I sense you're distressed about this or you're upset about this. Let's
Right.
talk about it. Yeah.
That's the expectation you should have with your
Right.
real estate team.
Because this is an emotional process. It's not an easy process to go through. We try to make it as fun as possible,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
it's not always fun.
More ice
Right.
cream, please.
Right.
Yes.
It's not always fun. And it's nice to have people that you can actually call at 8 o'clock at night and say, I'm literally falling apart over here.
Yeah, I
You
had
know,
my last chat last night, like
10:30.
10:37 PM.
Yeah.
Granted, part of that was my fault because I was running with my run crew on
Right.
Thursday,
Right. You were
but
late. You were late getting back here. Right.
but they knew that too. That's why they were like, "Oh,
That's
we
right.
know you'll be up."
That's right.
So we chatted about some concerns and figured it out, and that enabled them to be able to go to sleep with a clean head.
That's right.
And
It's very
first
important.
thing, we regrouped and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really hiring a professional, hiring somebody you can have a beer with too is,
Hmm.
is kind of critical to the process because you're going to be spending a lot of time with us and it's going to
Hmm.
be emotional time and stressful times at times. And so having somebody that serves you is super important in my
Hmm.
view of this whole thing. Don't judge a book by its cover. Go deeper than that.
I
You
mean,
talk to a few people,
did you marry the first person that you ever went on a date
right?
with
That you liked,
that you
that you
like that you crushed on? I guess in summary, what we're saying is there's that old saying, trust but verify. I'd say when it comes to figuring out your real estate and your lending professional that's going to be on your team in the short term marriage, and that would be verify and then trust.
Mhm.
And one way to verify is on the Texas Real Estate Commission website, TREC. If you type in trek.com, is it trek.com?
Gov.
.gov. That actually is the consumer focused uh, summary. You can type in as right there on the front page, landing page, you type in an agent's name and it will pull up their education. It will also pull up if they've ever been
In trouble.
in trouble.
Mhm.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Very
How long they've had their
how long
license.
they've had their license, all the things. And so you want to see, because how did Mark and I get to where we are? Yes, we have decades of experience, but we also regularly we take more than the minimum number of to keep your real estate license. You have to have at least 18 hours every 2 years of continuing education. And Mark and I regularly blow right through that. We do a lot more because we're both very information hungry. We know that we don't know, but we always want to learn. Why? Because we want to be equipped to be able to, if we don't have the answer for you, to be able to direct you where to get those answers when they come up during your real estate transaction. And there's more to it than just experience. There's also real live education. So you as a consumer can go and see that for yourself, literally in black and white.
I think part of the question in my mind is how does a consumer figure out, you're following somebody on TikTok or Instagram that has, 100,000
Mhm.
followers. You have social proof, as they call it, through that. You feel like they wouldn't have that kind of following if they didn't know what they were talking about. And to me, it comes down to what happens when you actually meet them, right?
Mm.
What happens when you actually talk to them in person? First of all, do they take the time to talk to you in person? Is it just a phone call,
Or do they
right?
send their assistant
Do
or
they
their
send their
assistant
assistant?
assistant?
And then you have to ask questions that are geared towards, you know, how much time are you going to be willing to spend with me? And how does this typically work with you? How do you work? Because you'll find out that, well, or if you start working with them and you start realizing that their real job is TikTok and not real estate, cut the tie, right?
Mm.
And go find somebody who actually knows what they're doing. There are a lot of agents, and I would venture to say most of the top agents in this market in Dallas Fort Worth are not on Instagram and TikTok, and almost guarantee you that
Mhm. It's
because
very
they
true.
they they are educated, and if you're educated, you have to invest time and tremendous time, and social media takes up a lot of time
Boy, it
to.
could be for
It's a
us
full-time
as
job.
self-employed people, it
It's a
could be
full-time
a
job,
whole a
and
whole
that's
'nother
why I don't
full-time
do
job.
much of it. I don't have
Yes.
time for that, literally, and the people that are really professionals in this life don't have time for it either. They either have a team of people that puts it together for them, and they have a photo shoot once a month, which hopefully that's the case, right?
Mhm.
And they have time to do the other things, but you'll find out when you talk to them. You'll find out if you ask them enough questions, you'll get down to the bottom of, is this a great salesperson, or is this a great advisor? And you want an advisor, and an
Mhm.
advisor has knowledge. An advisor gives you different perspectives instead of saying, "Oh, just follow me. I know what I'm doing."
Yeah, different perspective. What does that mean? Well, maybe leasing right now is the best plan.
Right.
Maybe buying this condo with the eye of it being a future investment. Yes, it's owner occupied now, so you can lock in that lower interest rate with Mark, but maybe in the future when you move on to a single family home because you bought here at this rate at this time, you keep it and now you rent it out. And so now you've got some mailbox money, or maybe it becomes your retirement home in 20,
Right.
30 years. I mean, there's all different ways to play this real estate game. And the only way to know for certain that you're taking the right path for you at this time is to find that professional that does have that depth of experience, but most importantly, will take the time to see you, to hear you, and to value you as a person and to value the opportunity to come alongside and help you get to that finish line, to your ideal, to where real estate really does elevate your everyday and is not a burden, is not the OG's $1,200 sporty car, ugh,
Mhm.
angst.
Mhm.
Instead,
Mhm.
it's like, heck yeah, we're here. We love it. We love walking down to Sprouts for groceries or whatever it might be, or White Rock Coffee, and I'll just, all the
Yeah.
things.
Yes. So Instagram, social media, following, sales. If you have a lot of sales every year, it doesn't make you a good agent, doesn't make you a great lender. It's what happens during the process, and you can only find out by asking them questions. You're not going to get that just by following them and watching their success and
Mhm.
all that. That's part of the equation, but it's not
Part of it. Yes.
it's not everything. And
Mhm.
there are some people on Instagram and TikTok that know what they're doing, and they're very
Many.
successful
Yes.
as well.
Well, we're on Instagram and
But
TikTok.
again,
Do you know what we're doing?
my measuring stick is people that are truly successful in our business don't need social media.
No, it's word of mouth.
It's word of mouth, and word of mouth is really the true social proof out there. It's not Instagram, it's
Or that or
followers.
that speed dating opportunity, also called open houses.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's a
And many of the TikTokers don't do open houses, if you've noticed. I think
not
it's a
spend much
waste.
time on TikTok.
They think
I'm
it's a
too
waste
busy
of
with my
time.
people.
They think it's a waste of time. But that connection you get at an open house when somebody says things to you that you've never heard of before,
Mhm.
that's when you need to start
That's
queuing in and
interesting.
saying, maybe
Yeah.
I should talk to this agent a little bit more
Mhm.
because they're taking the time to do an open house, meet people, educate them in the process. And those are agents you want to work with. If that agent is just standing in the open house and says, you look around, see you later, it's probably not a great agent, but an agent that engages you, has questions, gives you great answers, that's probably an educated, experienced, well-rounded agent that can help you.
Or might just give a hoot that actually, I guess,
So
cares.
interviewing agents through open houses is a great way to do
Mhm.
it.
There you go.
There you
This is
have it.
kind of a passionate, mellow, I don't know, kind of interesting episode.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining us again. We're always glad to have you here. And if this is your first time, well, howdy and hello. And if it's your second, third, fourth time, why haven't you subscribed yet? We'd love to have you part of our online tribe. So do that now. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Till next time.